Hi, my name is Billy Crystal, and I'm just not sure about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Okay, I admire your honesty, first of all.
There's a lot riding on this.
There, for both of us,
Yeah,
actually.
No, I have available days during the week.
So if this works out, we could actually start hanging out on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah. Well, you're not sure yet. We're going to see how this goes.
Shouldn't it be like that?
It should be like that. I'm going to tell you, I saw you at a school event not long ago, and we're chatting, and this thing just popped into my head, and I said it to you, which is, who has checked more boxes in their career than Billy Crystal? And I said, no, seriously, I'm thinking about this right now, ticking off every category that you've had success in. It was impressive. It also angered me. It made me feel small. But I was going through the list of, sitcom, television, Saturday Night Live, film. I mean, Broadway. It's somehow less cool when you help me with it. The Oscars. I mean, there are a lot of entertainers where I can say, okay, they've done well in these two slots. They've got those covered. But you've had this absolutely stunning career. And so I was thrilled when you said you'd come in and talk.
Oh, yeah.
Because my introduction to you as a real human being, as a physical person, was I was a volunteer on the very first Comic Relief.
Really?
I had just gotten a job, my writing partner and I had just gotten a job at Moffett Lee in August of '85. And not long after that, they said, we're doing this thing, Comic Relief. It's going to be the first one. The hosts will be Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, and Whoopi Goldberg. And everybody came out, and I was a gopher on that. But I remembered seeing you guys, seeing Robin, seeing Whoopi. I was 22 and had just arrived in LA, staying in a $380 a month apartment, where I still live. But I remembered that seeing a limo pull up and Jerry Lewis step out, holding a small white dog, which is something egotistical people do in movies, but not in real life.
And not only that, that dog, Jerry would put the little doggy treat in his own mouth to soften it up, and then go, "Here, Bobby, here." That's what he would do.
But I remembered that event. Everybody came out.
Yeah.
My introduction to comedy that really made me want to do it was when 10 from Your Show of Shows was released as a movie with Sid Caesar. And I watched, my father took me to see it. I might have been 12, I don't know. And I said, whatever this is, I have to get in on this. And Sid Caesar was there. And I got to walk up to him and tell him how much he meant to me. So you were a big part of my introduction to this whole world.
Well, so was Sid for me. That was my show. I was 5 or 6. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. Mm-hmm. My family was in the music business. My dad produced phenomenal jazz concerts. The family business was this little record store called the Commodore Music Shop on 42nd Street between Lexington and 3rd. And it was the hangout for jazz artists. There was my Uncle Milt, who's this you can cut out.
No. We're going to keep in this. You're softening up a dog treat right now. Jerry's dog is still alive.
Here,
even though Jerry is.
Here, Bobby, here. He said for that. He said, no poop. Said, good boy. Who's the best little Jew dog? And my uncle started this label, the Commodore Jazz Label, which was the first independently owned jazz label of its kind. And he started producing his own records, one of which became Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday. All of these great jazz artists. But my parents were comedy, just mavens. My mom, for a little while, was the voice of Minnie Mouse in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parades.
I didn't know that.
They met at Macy's, and she was the voice of Minnie Mouse. The float would come down Fifth Avenue, and she'd be sitting somewhere under Minnie's skirt that's flying in the air, singing her song, which was at the time "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." They were always funny, and they really knew that the three of us, we had a shine for it. So they'd let us stay up late to watch, in the beginning, Show of Shows, which then later evolved to Steve Allen on The Tonight Show, Jack Parr, Ernie Kovacs was a huge influence. But it was an episode of 10 from Your Show of Shows. They're doing a takeoff of The King and I, which had just won Best Picture. And so they have, kind of cheesy palace set. And then Sid, who is just the Charlie Chaplin of television.
Yeah.
Comes out in a bad bald wig, capri pants, barefoot, strikes the pose, then starts screaming at the top of his lungs, grabbing his foot, "Who's smoking in the palace? There's no smoking in the palace." And I just felt that's so, I was doing that constantly. And then the Show of Shows, to me, the classic sketch was This Is Your Life.
Yes.
Al Dunsey.
Yes.
And
which is the sketch that got my attention too in that movie. The movie's a collection of sketches, but yes.
When Howie Morris comes out as Uncle Goopy and starts crying and jumping on Sid, and Sid was very strong. He would drag him around the room. They'd look at each other and they'd scream and cry and they'd separate. Then they'd go back on top of each other. So when my dad would come home from the store, I was 4 or 5, 6 maybe. I'd jump on his back and cry, and he'd throw me into bed. I was Uncle Goopy. That show, when Sid came, I introduced myself.
This is Comic Relief now, 1986? Maybe?
Yeah. And I have a picture with the cast, in the cast of Show of Shows. And when I was most recently on Broadway with Mr. Saturday Night, I had an 8x10 of that picture, and that was the last thing I looked at before I would go on stage every time, because that was the scent that I followed all of these years.